So, Matty, are we expecting just lots of goal kicking practice this week?
Yeah.
After what happened Sunday night?
Yeah, probably more specific on exactly where we want to work, what areas. That's something we've been on for well and truly a month or two now. It's not going to be something new. We were always working on goal kicking. We know it's an important part of the game and probably cost us the game on the weekend.
Is it as much as the goal kicking but maybe the how you guys sort of bring the ball inside 50 as well? Is that part of it too?
Yeah. Yep. That's the two areas that at the moment are really hurting us. So in a really close game like we had on the weekend, we cost ourselves with connection, with finish in front of goal, and that scoreboard pressure. It's amazing how powerful that can become later in games. And look at how the game played out. They were able to string, a number of goals in a row, the end of the third and into the fourth, and before you knew it, the game's out of reach. They change the way they play, and they can sort of cover in behind the ball from that point on. It makes it hard for us.
How do you go fixing that? 16 rounds of the season now, only 8 to go. How do you go about fixing that so long into the year?
Well, we're not starting this week to fix it. It's something we've known for a number of at least 8 weeks. We've been working on our inside 50. Is it our execution by foot? Is it the options we're going into inside 50? It's probably a combination of both. So we'll continue to look at it. We'll continue to work on it. We may make some changes to what we're going into. We won't change the way we play. We feel that our method in offence and the way we move the ball is strong, and we're really confident that the group's playing some good footy in that area. And it's that last connection that we're missing at the moment, which is going inside 50, lowering our eyes, hitting targets. We're just not getting that done at this point.
In terms of set shots, you mentioned you've been trying to address it. What exactly have you done? Have you brought someone in to work with people, or do you dedicate more time at training, or is it on the players to sort of come in on their day off? What have you sort of tried to do over the last 6 or so weeks?
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, we've been working in the mental space, which is big nowadays. Working with players on routines. We don't need to bring extra people in. We've got some experts in that area. Trent Henschel looks after our goal kicking. He's doing a great job with certain players, and unfortunately we're just not seeing that convert at this point in those pressure moments in games, and that's where we head to the mental space. I'll back Whitey in from 30 metres out dead in front any day. Unfortunately, he had one of those nights where he just didn't convert for us, and in the end it's super costly. Coming down to the wire, we could have stretched out to maybe a 3 or 4 or 5 goal lead, and it makes it a lot harder for the opposition then to come back, but we didn't do that.
Who works with the players in that mental space? Who talks to them?
Yeah, we've got actual specialists that come in and work with us. So consultants that we've got in. We've also got some fantastic ex-footballers who have played. Michael Voss is a super strong in that area and works with players as well. So there's no lack of expertise that's working with individuals as well as with smaller groups. We also do that with our leadership program. It's one of those things that's been able to replicate the pressure of games. It's a tough one to do when you're training, and we're seeing some really good results during training. Guys are kicking really well at training. We're just not quite seeing that come through in games.
More mental coping with that pressure under game scenario, and physical and styles and routines and stuff.
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
Kane Corn said today in a column that you should get Perkins back. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, it's not for me to comment on.
You don't think you're good enough people helping this bloke, you believe?
Yeah, I don't think it's an area we need more people in. No.
The balance between Gray and Wingard, forward, midfield. Gray's kicked 35 goals, Wingard's only 14 this year, which is down, but he's obviously had a career high disposals against Richmond. Do you need another player, a finisher in forward like him, and work through that balance? Yeah,
well, you must have been in match committee. We've been having those discussions and looking at probably Chad's time spent forward compared to midfield. His midfield numbers have gone up substantially, so the percentage of time he's spending in there. We're loving what he's giving us on ball, but we're having that same discussion as a group. Is it do we need to get that balance right and get Chad back into our forward line? Because there's no hiding from the fact that he's very strong at finishing in front of goal, and he can impact the game down there. What are we going to rob from our midfield to take him back there? That's something that we've got to look at, and that's the balance stuff that we're starting to look at as coaches. When I say starting, this has been over a number of weeks that we've been looking at how to improve on this area. But what we will do now is start to have a look at different ways of doing that. Personnel, as I said before, and we're not going to change method, but maybe just a tweak to mindset of how we go inside 50. Will be something we'll look at.
Is it just a 1 foot? We're taught the wingard grows. Is it just 1 for 1, or could they both play forward, or is it a combination of things?
Well, we'd like to put it as a combination of getting Robbie on ball at times, and if you're playing a 50-50 split, I mean that would be great. Again, we want to get the right balance in the midfield and how that works, because you've got some guys in there that are fantastic in hard in the contest in Powell-Pepper and Wines, and Chatty balances that up really well. So too does Robbie. So we'll address some of those things over the next few weeks.
That same chat, where does Boki factor in? Obviously, he's spent more time on forward. Is there a thought that you need to get him? Have you sort of seen that transition of role play out over this Boki?
Yeah. Well, from Travis's point of view, he's playing an important role for us. Playing in our forward line, works up into our midfield a fair bit. So you see it on paper, you see him line up at a centre bounce. A lot of people are saying, well, he's playing forward so much. He's doing a hell of a lot of work around the ground and really important roles for us that don't necessarily generate to Boki having 30 possessions. So from Travis's point of view, we're seeing some really good stuff. There's still improvement that we need, and that's across the board from all players, and Travis is one of those. Part of that is our ability to finish.
Nick, Port's history in the Sanford, the Magpies, and even in the AFL early on has been that you're such a great fighting team, you win your close games. In recent times, the Power's lost most of its close games. Why is that?
It's a really good question. It's one we're working on. I mean, we have, especially the last, 2 years, we haven't been able to get across the line. When we do win, it's a reasonably strong margin. When we lose, we've been sort of averaging around 15 points to the top sides this year. So we're right around the mark, and we just, for whatever reason it is, we just haven't been able to get across the line. It's an area that we just, we have to get better at. We've got to improve.
You just spoke about obviously bringing the consultant in to speak, about the mental side of things for goal kicking. Does that translate?
It's
also
right across the board.
Games?
Yeah. We work in that space a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not just with goal kicking.
How much time do you spend on that?
I couldn't put it down to an hour, but I think most of our players spend it. At least they'll catch up with our mental preparation coach at least once a week. Everyone's different. I mean, we have a number of players that are really strong and feel strong in that area. We have some that really like to get in there and work on it. So I think it's something that you're going to see grow and become a really substantial part of coaching groups going forward.
Can it have a negative effect if players who aren't comfortable with it sort of get ushered in towards it? They can tend to overthink things. You might have someone like Charlie who goes, just let me get out there and kick the footy.
As I said, we don't force any players into that area. Coaching is a relationship, and it's like teaching. You have to have both sides have to buy into that. So we offer it there for the players, and we'll often give some suggestions on whether we think maybe it's an area that might help your game.
How does you say who that person is?
I won't go into individuals that we're working with in that area, but it's right across the board. We'd have most players, majority of our guys are really positive about that space, and it's the next level. I mean, they're all professional. They want to become, elite players. They want to get to that next level. And part of that, they understand nowadays that the mental side of the game is a big part of it. There's no hiding. If you don't want to get involved in that area, well, often you are hiding something.
And Greaves has done a lot of work with that this year as well, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, and he's involved with that program, as are all the coaches.
Yeah.
We're all very much bought into that side of things.
How does Travis go with a bloke of his character and standing at Port Adelaide go from playing in the guts and being the man to sort of a lesser role, so to speak, when he plays out wide, and obviously still does a lot of work, but is it hard for him to deal with?
It's an interesting comment, lesser role. I don't.
He's not in the middle, and I mean, you're saying it results in less possessions for him. It might be a more significant role for you, but from the outside it looks like not so much a demotion, but he'd rather be. Yeah,
I think that's probably where it's seen. It's probably viewed the wrong way. I think by no way is Travis's role a lesser role in our team. In fact, he's got a super important role. I think the fact that he understands that and the group's very much on board with that, what his involvement is for us, is a real positive. So we've had nothing but positives to come back from Travis as far as where he's at and where he fits into the group.
It's a pretty good character then to be able to embrace that and do it for the benefit of the team.
Yeah, it's a strength.
Injury front, Honk, Hartlett, Would you expect both of them to play this weekend?
Not sure on Harts yet. We'll have to wait and see how he trains this week. But Homshi, we'd expect to be okay. It was one of those decisions that we made, last minute with Homshi. He took quite a knock to his knee and was a little sore. Probably could have played this week, so we'd expect him to be okay.
There's much structural as well. Obviously, a lot of the mosquito fleet that the Tigers roll out there as well. Is it an easy decision for you to make? Yeah, there was a bit of that come game day. We were waiting on Broady to make sure Broady was okay, and they did come in small up forward, and we were probably a little concerned about being too tall there. So when Broady was given the all clear, we made the decision on Homshi.
It's a pretty big hawk that Hartlett had. He must be a bit of doubt for Sunday though.
Yeah, well, that's one we'll have to see how that plays out for him, and you never know with these sort of things. It's if he's been able to look after it and get it right. We've also got to travel over to Perth, so that's another thing that will probably go against him. But at this point, we don't know enough information yet. We'll see how he comes out, and we'll train tomorrow.
Again, a tough challenge, trying to gain a chance to beat a top 8 team.
Yeah, well, I think the next, from this point to the end of the year, we've got a really tough draw. There's no easy draws. I'm not saying there are any teams that are an easy game, but to travel over there against a really good quality side is going to be a really tough one for us. But it's great. It's an opportunity. Our guys have got to see that as an opportunity, and they'll be really looking forward to it because we're coming off a disappointing one.
Accra, Hearn, Pritis, Kennedy, all the chance to return this week as well makes it a tougher task, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's good. It's good. Adds to the challenge, and all fantastic footballers. So we'll have to be on our game, and we'll have to get over there and butter up after this loss.
With how big Subiaco is, does that factor into your match committee decisions as to whether you bring? I know Cal Amon's tracking at the moment. If he might be a chance of playing Sunday with his pace, might be someone you bring in.
Yeah, we'd love to bring Carl in, but he's probably not right for another week or two. But the ground size, it's long. It doesn't quite have the width of the MCG. So from a space point of view, you do want to try and get some runners in. We feel we've got some really good speed in the team at the moment. If we're going to talk about personnel, we're probably going back to an area that's concerning us at the moment, and that's our connection and finish. So we may have a look in that space and what's going to help us get that to a level that's going to get us across the line.
I think your record recently isn't terrific over there at Subiaco. Is that more a reflection, I guess, of the strength of those two sides over recent times, or I guess how much more difficult it is to adjust to play at Subiaco?
I think you've got to give them credit. It's a tough road trip. Any side that goes over there and plays, and both of those sides have been in some reasonable form. The ground itself, the length of the ground isn't something. I think we'd actually look forward to that. We quite enjoy that space from a length point of view. We'd actually prefer it to be even wider. We like getting out on the bigger grounds. We enjoyed the MCG the other day, but I think it's just a tough trip. You're playing against really quality sides. It's parochial. The crowd's all against you. Hopefully we can get as many supporters over there as we can. But it is a tough road trip.
Talking about goal kicking, does that open the door for, say, Brett Eddie to come back into the side?
Yeah, well, Brett's performing well in that space. He's a quality player. He's a quality finisher. So it's a round peg, round hole. That might be something that we do have a look at.
You feel the home ground advantage you guys gain from playing in Adelaide? There are probably 3 in the AFL with Geelong, Adelaide and Perth. Do you feel equally the opposite when you go there? Is it that bad?
Perth's they've got a very loud crowd, both Freo and West Coast. Actually, especially Freo. They seem to have the edge on them, but don't put that on those. West Coast will come out and cheer them even louder. But it's look, their fans are as good as any as far as being loud and getting into the game.
And so, does that affect the players?
Oh, well, you'd hope it doesn't, but it's one of those things when you do have support behind you. It's seen home ground advantage. That's why they call it that.